One for the Empress. For Gaspar. Brianna. The Duchess. And Caritas. Right in the dangle bag.
All right, you're clearly annoyed. What can I do?
You're doing fine. It's the dead piled up in Halam Sharal that's nagging at me. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a butt for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one Empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. You want to stop a party, I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an Empress. That, and Briala being an idiot, the whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots.
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
What did you think of the masks?
What masks?
The masks? Everyone had them on their faces.
Those weren't their faces.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an Empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick. Happy to oblige. A taste of home just for you. Not just for me. Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Make us mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lord Inquisitor. Please, may I have a word with you?
How may I assist you, revered mother?
With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Liliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Phaedas. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
Liliana and Cassandra are candidates to become the Divine. How is that possible?
Not yet. But they could be. We need them to be. There is precedent. Other times when clerics remained deadlocked, a successor was chosen from outside the clergy. Lady Liliana and Seeker Cassandra were Justinia's most trusted friends and advisors. Our late Divine is still held in high esteem. To honor her, the Grand Clerics might support one of them as successor.
How long does the Chantry need them?
Several months, at least. If one of them is crowned Divine, she would not be returning to the Inquisition.
Liliana and Cassandra would have to make that decision for themselves.
And they certainly will, at a later date. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Halam Sharal. Now that the political situation has stabilized, we can devote more Inquisition resources to pursuing Corypheus. I would talk to Hawke. Soon.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming Divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was a funny Kunari. That's what they'll say one day. You watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a man, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you, of all people, say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
Many extraordinary things have happened to get us to this point.
I'm not so certain. I think it has been a long time coming. Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy, but she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think, and that would be chaos for us all.
So this is your new crusade?
I've agreed to nothing yet.
And if the Chantry calls on you?
Then I will do whatever I can, for as long as I can. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, Restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority. You asked for my opinion, and I've given it. Why would you expect it to change?
I expect you to keep your word. It's relentless. I can't...
You give yourself too little credit.
If I'm unable to fulfill what vows I kept, then nothing good has come of this. Would you rather save face than admit... We will speak of this later.
And people say I'm stubborn. This is ridiculous. Cullen told you that he's no longer taking lyrium?
Yes. He trusted your judgment on the matter.
He was not interested in my judgment today. Cullen has asked that I recommend a replacement for him. I refused. It's not necessary. Besides, it would destroy him. He's come so far.
Why didn't he come to me?
We had an agreement long before you joined us. As a Seeker, I could evaluate the dangers.
Cassandra, did you refuse Cullen's request because he's wrong? Or because you want him to be wrong?
Mages have made their suffering known, but Templars never have. They are bound to the Order, mind and soul, with someone always holding their lyrium leash. Cullen has a chance to break that leash, to prove to himself, and anyone who would follow suit, that it's possible. He can do this. I knew that when we met in Kirkwall. Talk to him. Decide if now is the time.
Maker's breath. I didn't hear you enter. Forgive me.
Cullen, if you need to talk...
You don't have to... I never meant for this to interfere.
I believe you.
But whatever good it does, promises me nothing if I cannot keep them. You asked what happened to Ferelden's Circle. It was taken over by abominations. The Templars, my friends, were slaughtered. I was tortured. They tried to break my mind, and I... How can you be the same person after that? Still, I wanted to serve. They sent me to Kirkwall. I trusted my Knight Commander, and for what? Her fear of mages ended in madness. Kirkwall's Circle fell. Innocent people died in the streets. Can't you see why I want nothing to do with that life?
Of course I can.
Don't. You should be questioning what I've done. I thought this would be better. That I would regain some control over my life, but these thoughts won't leave me. How many lives depend on our success? I swore myself to this cause. I will not give less to the Inquisition than I did to Chantry. I should be taking it. I should be taking it.
You give enough, Cullen. I'm not asking you for more. The Inquisition can be your chance to start over. If you want it to be.
I don't know if that's possible.
It is.
All right.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I've just received the most terrible news.
What is it?
I'm engaged.
I sense this is complicated. Tell me more.
For the past year, my mother and father have searched Antiva for a match for me. They had no idea you and I had grown so close. Today, I received a letter declaring they've betrothed me to Lord Adorno Cielo Tranto of Antiva. I must deal with this. But until then, we cannot be seen in a compromising situation. I'm so sorry.
Are you saying we should act like nothing has happened between us?
No, no, not at all. But it is not right that we carry on while I am betrothed. I must break off the match first.
Have you and this Antivan lord ever even met?
No. Perhaps, maybe at a cotillion some years ago. Oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. I barely remember Lord Otranto. I must see to this. And to my other duties. If I can keep my mind on them today at all. Inquisitor, I'm afraid untangling my engagement to Lord Otranto will take some time.
Is there anything I can do?
He is Antivan. The only acceptable thing to do would be to challenge him to a duel for my favor.
Every family has scandals. I'll find something to persuade Otranto to break off the match.
Please, Inquisitor, no. If Otranto found out, he'd challenge you to a duel. The traditional form of dueling among Antivan nobles isn't usually fatal, but there's always a chance of harm. I hardly wish to see you skewered on a sword point for the sake of my honor. Yes?
Does Antiva law force you to marry? Can't you break off the betrothal?
In theory, I very easily could. In reality, if I reject Lord Otranto without proper niceties, it will scar my family's name. Perhaps ignite a feud. Disentangling myself from the engagement will take months. Or years.
While you're worried about your family, what happens to us?
I cannot be with you until the question of this engagement is settled. It is simply not my own reputation. It is my family's. I do not have the right to risk it. As much as I might wish to. Why did this become so dreadfully complicated?
Tell me again about this Antivan lord your parents engaged you to.
Adorno Ciel Otranto? His family runs several shipping companies in Antiva that do very well. Of the man's temper and disposition and habits, I know nothing. Well, Mother claims he enjoys sailing and dueling, but what Antivan lord doesn't?
If I dueled this Lord Otranto, I could force him to give up his betrothal with you.
But you could be hurt. Dueling is a very precise sport. Men and women spend years perfecting their skills with a rapier. I couldn't bear to think of my family putting you in any further danger. Again.
Let's speak later.
Another time.